5. Pow, 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 pow. Hey, pow, 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 pow. Slim thing, hey, hey. You know what? It's about that time. Clearly, you guys are afraid of these women, but luckily for you guys, I'm not. So, somebody's gonna be actually telling y'all the motherfucking truth, and it's very unfortunate that I've been summoned from my silent nice girl era to come back and clock some of you ladies. But without further ado, let's jump into it. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of your ultimate fave. Now, you know what? We can't be starting like this because I know a lot of you guys actually want but luckily for you guys, this December, I am going to be locked and loaded. All your favorite shows, everything that you need, I'm going to be right here giving you guys all the tea. And we're going to start with none other than a messy TV recap. Let me tell you guys something about messy TV. Nobody does a recap like your ultimate fave, because your ultimate fave gets down and dirty with the messy ones. You understand? Like, if you going to call out the messiest of the messiest of the messiest, then you need a messy person to recap it in the way that you see it, the way that you feel it. Okay? So I've been watching. Okay, but wait, I gotta do an intro. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode by your ultimate fave. Now, if you are new here today, I can't even tell you guys to subscribe because I've been completely and utterly inconsistent. But if you are new here today and you actually like this TV recap, then maybe you should stay because I've got a lot more content coming. But if you are an ultimate fave and you've been begging for TV recaps, look no further because your ultimate fave is back. And let me not even lie, I've been summoned from the dead, okay? But before we get into that, how cute are my nails? Oh my God, I did like a limey, lemony green. So I'm probably going to release this video tonight or tomorrow morning, and to all the people that are expecting me to be in Bloemfontein, I'm not going to be able to go up, unfortunately. Not apparently, it's not alleged. I won't be going to Bloemfontein, so I hope everyone who's going to the fill up has fun, you know. But I'll see you guys when I see you guys in Bloem. Besties, y'all know I love you down. I was really looking forward to it, but you know, some things came up and it is what it is. But for everyone who is going to be watching this late at night because you love a messy ass recap, welcome to the place where you're meant to be. All right, once I say what's on my mind, I know the ladies are going to be watching. You understand? Each and every one of you: Jojo, Annie, Princess J, Dr. C, Zena, Madame, love you babe, Miriam. I'm saying it correctly, right? Miriam? Okay, ladies, tune in. Get your popcorn, get your glass of wine, because the ultimate recap queen is back and I'm about to give you guys what's truly on my mind. You ready? Oh, so good. So I've got my wine here, my rosé, and I have my green olives because, as you guys can see, I know I look a little bit dusty. The truth is there's no water in Alberton. You know, guys, living in the slumdog millionaire area of Johannesburg, it's a lot, but somebody's gonna keep this economy of the South alive. Do you understand? I've been tuned in on the latest season, or the latest, yeah, it is the latest season of the Ultimate Girls Trip South Africa. No. Correction, Ultimate Girls Trip Africa. So it's not South Africa, it's based around Africa. So it's taking all the franchises of the Real Housewives within the African region. It's bringing some of your fan favorites, some faces you've never seen before, bringing them together, taking them on a girls trip, and essentially addressing maybe, you know, some prior beefs and things that they've had in the past, right? But it's quite interesting to see the ladies that they picked this season. So as you guys know, I normally do like a quick character breakdown, but to be really honest with you guys, because it is the first season and there are some people that we don't know, it is best that we do a quick character breakdown, lead everybody in, let everybody know who's who in the zoo. Let's start with all my favorites. Starting at the top, I'm gonna have to give it to the ultimate housewife. We've got Jojo Robinson, who's actually joined the second cast. I don't know if she was in the previous season of the Ultimate Girls Trip Africa. I think she was. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I did watch that. That's when they still had Mal from Real Housewives of Pretoria, Nonku, and everybody else. That season was quite nice. It was full of a lot of drama. So we have Jojo Robinson. This time she's not coming as Joku, she's coming as Jojo. And let me tell you, I have never been happier to see Jojo emerging from this friendship that really kind of tied her into it. You know, Jojo's been on our TV screens for 4 seasons. So according to this show that we're watching, Ultimate Girls Trip Africa Season 2, she is the longest standing housewife in this group, in this cast, right? She might not be one of the OGs, because we do have some OGs, but she is the longest standing housewife. So shout out, I am happy that Jojo was selected and cast, because I feel like now is an opportunity for Jojo to rise from the ashes, to be seen as Jojo Robinson, to get a different feel of who Jojo is when she's not really tied towards Nonku. You understand what I'm saying? And I know a lot of you guys can agree with me in the comments that Jojo, when she's with Nonku, she's still a great character. She still brings her fun and her flair, but I've seen a different side to Jojo when we started seeing that rift between Joku, and I've come to really like Jojo, and I've said that in my previous recaps, and I still stand by that so far. So I am glad that Jojo is back. I'm glad that an actual housewife is back. I'm glad that rich people are on the show. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Sorisha wasn't going to come on this because Sorisha on The Real Housewives of Durban, she's actually one of the executive producers, if I'm not mistaken. I think Sorisha kind of has a hand in the production of The Real Housewives of Durban. So I think, am I surprised that she's not here? Not really. And I'll explain why further inside. But let's just continue with the character breakdown. Up next, we have Angel. Now, Angel, I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm so sorry. I know you guys hate it when I eat. I know you guys hate it when I eat on these recaps. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. I didn't understand the placement of Angel for Ultimate Girls Trip Africa, but I wasn't too mad at it. I wasn't too mad at it, but I was just like, I really would have opted for someone else over Jojo. In actual fact, I would have wanted them to have, is it Tola? Is it Tolami? I think that's what they call it. She's the on Real Housewives of Lagos, and she was having the fallout with Mariam. I would have preferred maybe another lady from the Real Housewives of Lagos, because I feel like there really is an indiscrepancy. There's a lot of housewives from Durban. There's 3 housewives from Durban, and then you have like 1 from Johannesburg. You have 2 from Nairobi. You have 1 from Princess J. I'll answer you guys just now. I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna need to fact check that. But you kind of have 1 or 2, 1 person per franchise. So it kind of struck me as a little bit, there's a bit of an inconsistency here. We really could have sat this one out without Angel. But then again, we have to admit that Angel does bring a spunk and a pizzazz. She really does bring that whole youthful energy. And she really is good friends with Jojo. So I guess seeing that dynamic of the friendship play out, hence why I'm not too mad at it. And I think from what we've seen already in the first 2 episodes, you can kind of see that Angel might just be a tad messy, and that is exactly why I'm paying Showmax. I'm paying you to give me exactly what I asked for. So it's fine. I felt like Angel was a bit of a miss from a, onboarding of the housewives, but she's not a complete miss. She's not a complete miss for me. I would have preferred to switch her with another lady from Real Housewives of Lagos, but I'm not mad that she was chosen, right? The next person we have is none other than Annie, Mrs. De Guru. And I am not going to lie, I am so surprised to see Annie back after all these years. I'm gonna have to give it to her, clock that hot tea. Miss Mamas, I am glad you're back. And to be really honest with you, I am kind of glad you're back because I really do want to poke into your marriage there a little bit. But I'm just glad you're back because you are also one of the OGs. Annie is also one of the very first cast members of the inception of the Real Housewives of Durban. So when Real Housewives of Durban started, we had Annie, we had Nonku, we had Sorisha. If I'm not mistaken, and I know I'm not mistaken. So it's nice to have an actual OG because Annie obviously did, I think, about 2-3 seasons, and then she kind of took a break. I think she did 2 seasons, and then she took a break. So it's nice to see a familiar face. It's nice to see someone who's went under the radar all this time, to just kind of see the journey that Annie's done. I think when Annie left reality TV, she really did leave as a villain. So now is the perfect opportunity for Annie to do one of 2 things. It's the opportunity for redemption. We are here to see if Annie's going to redeem herself. And to be really honest with you, I loved Annie as the villain because she gave me something to talk about. Like every time Annie did something wrong, I would switch on my camera and go, "You wanna Annie?" But I also like the fact that Annie didn't take any fucks lying down. So I'm very happy to see that Annie's back. She's in good spirits. She looks good. First of all, she's lost weight. She looks great. She just looks good, and I'm happy to see this element of Annie back on the show. I'm not even gonna lie, she was a hit for me. Annie was a hit for me. Up next we have Madame. When I tell you, you are pathetically lying, my dear. You are lying. You are pathetically. Now, when we are talking about the creme de la creme of housewives, there would be no housewives if it wasn't for Housewives of Johannesburg. You guys might not remember this particular franchise, but you will be lying if you tell me that you don't remember Mrs. Evodia Madame. okay? Vodia Madame Mukhase. No, don't lie. Right? So for all of those who don't know, Madame is an OG of the Real Housewives of Johannesburg. Now I think they had 2 good seasons, or about 3, but I think season 3 was meant to air, and then there was some sort of like discrepancy with season 3 of Real Housewives of Johannesburg, so they never actually brought it back. It was in filming and there was progress in filming, but sources back then had it that there was a serious fight that led to some lawsuits being thrown. This has nothing to do with Madame, it has to do with Brunette and Crystal, and even ended up on the news, so search up about it, but that's essentially why that season didn't air. But Madame is back, and Madame is serving everything I expected. Classy, doesn't take any shit lying down. And you know what I love about Madame? Madame really reads you for filth with class. You know, we've seen Madame lose her shit. If you are a true OG and you are a true TV recap watcher like me, if you really do be watching reality TV, you know that Madame really set the bar very, very high. I'm not even gonna lie. But up next we have Mariam, and I'm not even gonna lie, I am so happy to see Mariam. I think Mariam really was, she was like the Nonku of Real Housewives of Lagos. I'm gonna be super honest with you guys, but she was the most memorable for me. She was the most memorable. I can't imagine them having picked anyone better than Mariam for the Ultimate Girls Trip of Africa. Mariam brings a lot of things. She brings pizzazz, she brings class, and the thing that I love about Mariam is that every single outfit she's going to eat without fail. Real Housewives of Lagos, let's give it to them, guys. When it comes to fashion, when it comes to showing up, oh, they show up, okay? That is one thing I enjoyed about the Real Housewives of Lagos. Every single sit down dinner, it was to the nines. Their hair was done. Their outfits were like to die for. They always stood out. Maybe it was hits, maybe it was misses, but you know when they say someone really puts in the work to always look good? That's women of Lagos for me. And that's the difference that I'm already seeing, is that Mariam is going to give us Mariam. Whether or not she's in Brazil, ain't nobody give a damn. That red and black dress that she wore to the dinner, I was like, yep. I expected nothing less from Mariam, and I'm looking forward to more outfits because I have a feeling she might be the fashion killer of the season, okay? She might be the fashion killer of the season. I'm hoping closely followed by Madame, but Madame is more so of that classy, you know, have your brands and whatever. Mariam is more of like take it to the top. Every outfit is couture. You know what I mean? So I like that. I really, really like that. Up next, we have Princess J. Now, Princess J is from the Real Housewives of, I think, Abuja, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check that quickly. Yeah, Princess Jennifer. She's from the Real Housewives of Abuja. Yes, correct. So Princess J is from the Real Housewives of Abuja, and I will say this because I know I'm already going to get a bias for this. I did not watch the Real Housewives of Abuja. I didn't. I really didn't. And I know some of my faves are gonna be like, Naledi, that's not fair. And it isn't, Vela. But at the end of the day, if something doesn't catch me off the cuff, it's not gonna catch me. It's not gonna catch me. So, Princess J, I really have nothing to say about you so far. You seem like a very stand-up woman to me. I didn't watch your season, and I'm sorry about that, but we'll get into that. We'll talk about it right here in the recap. And then we have Dr. C. Now, Dr. C is from the Real Housewives of Nairobi. Yeah. Already, do you know that deep spiritual Negro sigh that you get when you have to think of a person? For me, back then, it used to be Nonku, it used to be Annie, sometimes it was Joe, and sometimes it was, you know, Mariam, you know, sometimes it was a lot of people. But because I've also never watched the Real Housewives of Nairobi, I'm going to have to say, just off face value and everything I'm seeing on the show, Dr. C is very dramatic and she stirs some shit. Now that is a messy boots. You a messy boots, okay? And then we also have the latest edition who actually came in on episode 2. That's Zena, and she's also from the Real Housewives of Nairobi, right? I also don't know Zena. I didn't watch it, so there's nothing I can say so far about these ladies. And you know what? Honestly, my apologies for that. We're gonna keep it a stack from the first episode where Dr. C was like, I don't watch any of y'all's guys. You guys don't know who I am. No, Dr. C, we don't. And I'm here to tell you right now, I have no fucking clue who you are. I have no fucking clue who you are. You just, even that doctor, is she really a doctor? Is it a doctorate? Because I don't like people calling themselves doctors if they're not doctors. Let's check. Let's actually Google, is Dr. C a doctor? You see, if I'd actually watched, oh, she's a veterinary doctor. Okay, Dr. Catherine. Okay. So, I mean, I guess veterinary is animals, ne? Veterinary animals. I get it? Alright, so according to what Google has shared with us, she is an actual veterinary doctor. So it's fine. You can have that, Dr. C. I'm gonna let you have that. I'm gonna let you hold it. I mean, you gotta study to learn how to deal with our animals. I mean, bruh. But anyway, and then Zena is also the latest addition. I also don't know Zena. But let's get into the show as a whole. Now, already as it is, you can tell from the way that the show is going, Dr. C is messy. Dr. C already has this inflated sense of self that she really is the show and she's bringing the drama. And I'm sorry to literally like deflate you. Like, no, if I don't even know who you are, and I know a lot of people, but in my defense, there is a bit of a bias. I don't watch your show, but the fact that I still don't know who you are without having watched your show really says a lot. I don't think you're the girl that you think you are, but I'm loving the energy. I'm loving that I'm that bitch. But in reality, I'm gonna need Dr. C to pipe down, because as the show starts, there's a really inflated sense of self about Dr. C. You know, she's feeling like she comes to the ladies with a very like brazen attitude. So you can already tell Dr. C is lighting up people's fires. And don't get me wrong, but I think this is very much planned. Like, she's deliberately doing this. Like, I really don't even want to lie. Dr. C is trying very hard for a viral moment. And the only reason you'd be trying very hard for a viral moment is because you haven't had one yet. The coffin thing, I'm quite surprised. Madame actually said she watched it. Angel also mentioned that she watched 1 or 2 episodes, but she didn't really enjoy it that much. And I mean, that alone should say something, because if some of the ladies have watched Real Housewives of Durban, they do know each other. They might not know each other's seasons, but you know, and I don't blame the ladies for not watching each other's shows. I really don't, guys. I don't want to be like a hater or whatever. Don't get me wrong. It's the typical thing of me saying I don't watch my sister's videos. I don't. I know who you are. But with the other franchises and stuff, I guess when people go onto TV to be reality TV stars, they will watch themselves. They will really care about what people think of them. I don't necessarily think they would care to that degree, but let's be so flipping honest. The best franchises in Africa when it comes to the Real Housewives is Durban and Lagos. I don't make the rules. I report the facts. I report hard-hitting facts. Journalism, reality TV journalist, okay? Those are the best performing shows, right? We might have Nairobi and Abuja, which have done fairly well, because I did hear Dr. C and mention that they had 2 seasons. So maybe it really is doing well, but I guess the general consensus is that the popular franchises that have gotten like 3+ seasons each is Lagos and it is Durban, right? Also take into account that there was Cape Town, and Cape Town also kind of fell short. There was the Bainlanda, there was Van Pretoria. So we're not just singling out Abuja and Nairobi. We're talking across the board, babe. And those are the top 2, right? I don't know who you guys think top 3 is, who should get the 3rd spot. But essentially, Dr. C, I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care that you bought a coffin. You got the moment that you needed. You did the whole coffin thing with Zena. I am now feeling compelled to go watch it because of this particular brewing beef that we're seeing between Zena and Dr. C, right? Now, Zena and Dr. C, from their show, it looks like there's some lingering beef between them, because I think it started with, you know, one taking jabs at the other. It is explained more from Zena's perspective in episode 2. In episode 1, it's explained from Dr. C's perspective, which I think Dr. C has a tendency to sensationalize what is being said. She's sensationalizing it. She's putting herself from a very victim stance. She's saying that, you know, when you call someone a witch, do you know what that means? Do you know what that says? I have to go to therapy and whoa. You're the same lady who has to go to therapy, but you could bring a coffin on national TV. Shut up. You see, my thing about it is, if you're gonna throw it, you better be able to catch it, okay? If you're gonna have the balls to do something that audacious, judging from the fact that you were called a witch or whatever, you were bringing the coffin to murder the witch and calling her murder or whatever, if you have the balls to do something that's sensational, then you are not the victim in this. You have officially cut the ties from being a victim. Someone threw a stone, you threw a rock. Okay, bringing a coffin to a restaurant is absolutely insane in whatever perspective you try to place it. I don't think anybody has ever done something that insane to get a moment. And for you to do something that insane already tells me you are no victim in this, mama. You're a narcissist, and you are someone who definitely thrives off this clout and being spoken about. And I think you find that enjoyment in thinking that you're the villain, when in actual fact, people don't even view you like that. People just actually view you as something ain't right. Something ain't right. Like, people aren't taking you seriously. When you want to have a moment in instances like that, to fight like that already tells me a lot about you without you having to say anything. But then again, if Dr. C is mentioning about, the history and the statement of witches having, or women having been burned and murdered for being called witches, I can understand why she took that statement personally. I can. But because I never watched the show, I obviously don't know where this thing started, and I can't defend Dr. C, nor can I defend Zena. So it's a blow for a blow. I'm learning about their beef on the show right now. But I can already tell you off the cuff, Dr. C is a full textbook 101 narcissist with just a touch and razzle-dazzle of the need for clout and sensationalism, whereas Zena gives off this, I'm calm, this means nothing to me, but that makes for a very sly person. And now, in the instance that I'm watching the 2 episodes, I was very much inclined to believe that Zena, actually, she might have said some stuff, she might have thrown some jabs, but I'm on Zena's side. But towards the end of episode 2, right when they had that little confrontation with Annie, something in me switched when it came to Zena, and I'll explain why. Now, another feud that I genuinely think should be spoken about is how Annie and Jojo fell out. You guys remember that Jojo and Annie used to be friends, and then Annie became closer with Sarisha. Sarisha and Annie had an issue with how Jojo was treating staff, and I think Jojo really started off from a very villainous perspective, you know what I mean? But I think now we can see more than anything that everything Jojo was doing for her own moment, or she was doing whereas she felt some type of way, she did something. And I think that's a conversation that should be had between Annie and Jojo throughout this trip, and I do hope that that's an issue that is addressed, where we sit down and address how Annie felt about Jojo at the reunion when they mentioned that Jojo was ill-treating the staff. And I'm going to be honest, as much as I do like Jojo, I still have that little thought at the back of my mind that, are you just doing everything you're doing to redeem yourself because you ended up having such a large crowd of people disliking you to a point where you felt you had to detach from Nonku because you were realizing that you were doing things that were against your character? Or have you always been this person and now you're looking for a redemption arc? You're looking for that moment to really redeem yourself, and that included fixing things with Annie and Sarisha, because Annie and Sarisha finally saw you for who you are as an individual. And we can only blame Nonku so much for that. You know, how about birds of a feather flock together? Yes, in some instances, especially where reality TV is concerned, we might be flocking together to form alliances. But it really also says a lot about you and your character when you're called out for things where Nonku wasn't even involved. Okay? So I want you to also understand that Jojo, as much as I like you as a person, I still have that tinge of redemption arc. Look, this is the time for you to redeem yourself. This is the time for people to see a different light of you. I don't blame you. Everybody makes mistakes in the past that they should, be allowed to rectify, which is why I am not angry. I am happy that you're finding your voice, especially in this group of women, because you are a cast member, a long-standing cast member. You should be given that opportunity to rectify your mistakes, because clearly you are good TV. Okay, so yeah, episode 1 really starts off with Dr. C trying to, get under the lady's skin, saying some things, throwing some jabs, wanting to see Nonku and Lassie there. And look, do you guys want my honest opinion? Lassie was there in the last season, and so was Nonku, right? But I feel like that was such an unfair take. You're already kind of saying the standard of the show has gone down. And I don't like that. Because the standard of the show has already gone down having you here. But then again, maybe you are the best in your crew. I don't know. My thing about it is, you can't come onto a show knowing that you're the best and you bring this queen energy and you want to get to know the ladies, have a vibe, but then still kind of like throw jabs at the ladies. It leads us to believe that you really are this very narcissistic person that Zena says you are. And now the problem now that you're doing is that people are going to go watch the show and realize that no man, you're actually a son of my bob man, you're a son of my bob man, and you're annoying. And now it's only going to validate Zena's commentary about you, because so far I'm going to tell you for free. I firmly and utterly believe everything that Zena's saying about Dr. C. I do. Do I believe that Zena's not, like, she's not innocent? Yes. I do believe that when we see the certain clips of Zena calling her a witch and whatever the case may be, I mean, Zena, that was very childish of you to claim that you never called her that. And you know you did. Because those are the moments that made your show viral. You know you called her a witch, so why are you lying? Why are you lying? I mean, you're gorgeous, but I hate a pretty liar. Like, I hate a pretty lying-ass bitch. Like, be a lying-ass bitch. But I don't come in here with this whole facade of, I'm calm and I'm playing the long game and I'm going to fix what happened over there. Then why did you come here, mama? Why are you on the show? Okay, Zena, why are you here? If you feel like this thing that's being sorted between you and Dr. C must be sorted where it started, why did you come to the show? What the hell? I can understand in the confessionals you saying that people are going to actually see Dr. C for who she is, and she thrives on this conflict and commotion, because every time she says her piece, and when someone tries to say her piece, she'll talk over them, she'll roll her eyes, she'll be disrespectful, she'll completely dismiss other people's feelings and opinions. But then Zena, then why did you come onto the show? To be really honest, because like then if we're keeping it a stack, then there's no reason for you to be here. There's really no reason for you to be here. Do I think the ladies are involving themselves in something that has nothing to do with them? Hell yeah, we're going to address that too. But then why did you come on the show? Why are you here? Do you understand what I'm saying? And this is where the question of, is this scripted? Did they have a conversation on the side that they're just going to prolong this non-existent nyapa rapa nyapa nyapa nyapa, or do they really just like each other? Because that's not what I'm picking up. That is not what I'm picking up. Zena, you came into episode 2, Mariam pulled you to the side, you started crying when you were talking, and I could see, man, I wasn't seeing even one tear. I wasn't seeing even one. As a matter of fact, Mariam was shielding you from the camera just so that you could fake wiping something. But deep down now, I knew you weren't wiping shit. You ain't fooling me. You ain't fooling me, bitch. Like, you can fool everybody else with the whole fake ass tears. But then, when it's time for you to address it at the table, when everybody else is trying to show Dr. C that, listen, dude, tosari fuba, calm down. And if Dr. C wants to sit and address the elephant in the room and find resolve and find reconciliation, you, Zena, should have spoken up for yourself. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say, yeah, I know, but she doesn't have to if she doesn't want to, because she can see that Dr. C is a narcissist. Then don't come to Rio. What the hell are you doing here? You see, this is why I'm also thinking that you also want to come here and then you want to be memorable because we did forget you guys. Real talk, maybe we really did forget you guys. And I'm just saying we as like a consensus. I don't even know you guys. I don't know you. I just know you beautiful. But you ain't got no damn backbone. Because I don't want you having all that big ass mouth. You got a mouth in the diary session. But then she's sitting right across you. And she's clearly, you've made it very clear that, listen, Dr. C, if I really wanted to throw hands, I'm not afraid of you. I will throw hands. You can throw daggers. Let's throw daggers. That's why we're here. If you want to find a resolve, then sit down and face this supposed woman. You came to the show. You understand what I'm saying? But speaking of throwing daggers and throwing hands, the other thing that came up in episode 2, because things are still fairly dry, man. This one's a little droge, but the other thing that came up in episode 2 was the confrontation, or kind of like the, something about Angel, right? Now, I'm just going to be the one to say it. And I think I said it in the past about Angel, but I don't know if this was the word that I've used, but I know for a fact now more than ever, Angel is combative. Angel is combative. I feel like Angel is very much always on defense, and she doesn't know how to hold a conversation with maturity and listening. Okay? She doesn't know how to listen without feeling like she's being attacked. And that's a very big problem for me. Because when they were telling Angel about the whole Maria thing, I don't even know how the whole Maria thing came up. I don't even know. I think they were still talking about getting to know each other. And Annie was asking, why are the women so violent, right? And I think everybody was just kind of pinpointing who's violent, that being Zena and da-da-da and da-da-da. And then Angel was mentioned, and I think she was like, oh, hold on. calling me violent fundamentally is not what I am, and she was using fundamentally, and I was like, okay, she's using fundamentally. Let's see if fundamentally what's going to come out of her mouth is fundamental. And I'm really sorry, but if I'm going to drag everyone, Angel inclusive, I'm dragging you too, okay? I did like you. I thought you were a great addition. You were fun, you were flair, but you're combative. And you're combative in an unsavory way. I can already tell that you're going to annoy me because they are saying to you, you were violent. There were 2 instances where you got up across the table and went for Maria, okay? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being violent, mama. If someone invites me to the party, and that is one thing I can agree with you on wholeheartedly. If someone says, come baby, let's dance, I'm dancing with you. You understand what I'm saying? We're dancing. We're taking it to filth. Because what you're not gonna do is disrespect me. I'm one person where we can go band for band, bar for bar. But up until a point where you start disrespecting me, because we can throw jabs and I can forgive a lot of things, but there's certain things that you're going to say that I'm not going to forgive. And that in Angel's instance being the whole, she's a baby and they FAVES and they this and they this. And personally for me, if you're gonna call me a FAVE, you must be prepared for my response. You really must be prepared for my response. Personally, I would have taken it as far as Maria's marriage. I would have said, that's funny. Maybe you need more FAVES. You understand? The problem with me is I've got a clapback for every clapback on top of the clapback that's on top of the clapback. But sometimes when you're angry, there's no time to formulate the clapback. You understand? So I can understand in those instances why you lunged at Maria. But it doesn't nullify the fact that you definitely in the last season were coming across as aggressive. You might not have been the aggressor, but you definitely took it there where you are then labeled as aggressive. And now in this scene, Angel's trying to explain that no, I'm not violent, I was provoked, which could be true, but then you also can control your response at the end of it all. If I was Angel, I would have said, okay, if I'm violent, I'm from Howick. It is what it is, girl. We're gonna take it there. You wanna take it there? Let's take it there. Because Zena was also called violent and she didn't say anything. Maybe Zena also feels the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment for being seen like that on reality TV, which might go for Angel as well. But Angel, you explaining it and the way in which you're explaining it, you want people to hear your side and you don't want people to disagree with you. And that's the part that makes you very immature in this instance. Now, another thing that kind of left a very sour taste in my mouth is when Jojo is mentioning that you hit me. And Jojo, from my understanding, is your friend. So if Jojo is saying you hit her, that would have been the perfect opportunity for me to say, girl, but it was never my intention. I am very sorry. I would never in a million years want to put my hands on you. You were there. But now you're still complaining, like you're explaining it and you're still being combative about it. Like, no, but you were there in front of me and I'm charging and I'm this. And guess what that makes you, Angel? The very child that Zama called you. The very child that Zama called you. Your reasoning capacity is definitely lower than my water pressure right now because I've got no water and I haven't taken a shower. So already I'm angry, I smell like the environment, but that's where you took it maturity wise, and it goes to show that you're not someone that can be reasoned with, and that's a very big problem. And I'm sick and tired of you always starting some shit at the table, and then I know next episode you're going to be going to Jojo's room to go apologize with her in the room where there's cameras and there's the two of you, and then you guys are going to hug it out. How much you want to bet that that's what's going to happen? Because the problem with you, Angel, is that you can't reason with maturity in an instance where you feel like you're attacked. And at the end of the day, those are your actions. Maria's not there to be called out for her actions. You are stating that Maria did this, but if someone is stating that in that season there were 2 instances where you got up and you lunged and you charged, that can categorize you as violent. I'm sorry, I've been called violent before. I'm gonna take it. Shit. I tell story times all the time about how I'm a bitter bitch. And and not for me, be like, nah, take out those eyes, those crazy eyes. And once you start seeing those crazy eyes, and I'm not talking anymore, then you see froth coming out of my mouth. Then you see I'm spitting when I'm talking. You must know. Or if I go super quiet and I'm staring at you with the anger of Judas Iscariot staring at Jesus while he kissed him on the right cheek, that's when you know that I'm going to argue. I'm going to lunge. I'm going to jump. Because I'm either going to be very quiet or I'm going to be very loud and abrasive. It's going to be one of the two. But I normally know at the point where I know that I can feel myself fuming, I can feel the steam, I walk off. I walk off. Until something says, alright, son, jigga, asam some shine. Because also another thing about it is when you're on a TV show like that, people feel very brazen because there's security. That's also another thing. So you see, the thing that I kind of don't want to lie that I liked is that Zena threw a glass, Zena threw the coffin upside, but she wasn't afraid to take it and say, hey, I might not be a violent woman, but was I violent in these instances? Hell yeah. And also you, Annie, I just need you to calm down a little bit on calling people violent. I feel like Annie's also, there's certain words that can be used, and I'm already seeing Annie becoming what I'm going to deem as problematic. And Annie, I never thought you'd all piss me off an episode too. But one thing about you, you never cease to amaze me. So that part, I am so glad that the consensus of all women was saying that she's not being accountable in the moment because she's trying to explain her piece, of which people are giving you that opportunity, but people are allowed to disagree with you and tell you that, hey, listen, I hear that, but that doesn't nullify your actions. Cool. I love that. I love that Mariam called it out. I love that Princess J called it out. I love that, who else called it out? I don't know. But essentially, what you owe Jojo in that time was just an apology to say, sorry, friend, laugh it off, keep it moving. And I think Jojo would have taken that apology with sincerity because Jojo knows that you weren't intentionally trying to hit her. But the fact is, you did. And so in that moment, that would have been the perfect opportunity for you to squash it, apologize, and say that that's not the person I'm trying to be anymore. And that's why I'm so glad I'm on this trip with you guys, to really show you guys a different side of me. And then fight in episode 6 like a normal fucking housewife. Hello? Hello? Stop being immature about these things, because all it is doing is highlighting you as the baby of the squad. And it's very unfortunate that I have to be the one to tell you, but it really does say a lot about your maturity levels. But let's move from that. It's fine. I know you're gonna apologize in episode 3. I know. I know your tactics. The next person that we have to address, ne, is Madame and Dr. C. Now, Madame is the only person that has been reading people for filth with class. Madame, you can see that she's someone who doesn't have to raise her hands to get her point across. And the thing about someone like that is someone on esteem, someone who has an aura, someone who has esteemed respect, to a point where if I argue with you and I say, if you want others to respect you, you need to respect me. That's someone with a high level of emotional intelligence. I don't have to bark at you to get my point across. I'm just going to tell you it is what it is, and if you don't respect me, I sure as hell won't respect you. And there's a certain aura that Madame possesses, because when she calls out Dr. C, everybody seemingly gets quiet. The other ladies are calling out Dr. C. Zena's a bit too afraid. She's only on Dr. C and some I could throw this glass at you again. But essentially everybody else is just kind of chiming in that Dr. C is a bit delusional and stuff. But Madame made it evidently clear. Why are you wasting my time saying that you want to kumbaya when we're there? You're wasting my time. If you don't want to do things, or if you don't want to clear the air, then don't come to us and say you want to kumbaya. Don't disrespect me. Don't take my time for granted. Period. That's a housewife. That's someone with emotional maturity. That's someone who says her piece. Mariam was quite quiet in this. So was Princess J. And honestly, I can appreciate the fact that they're not getting involved in an instance that doesn't involve them. It doesn't involve them. And I like the fact that those two women chose to be quiet. Jojo will even give it to her as well. They chose to be quiet in the instance of Dr. C and Zena. The problem for me here was Annie. Annie, my dear. Now, here's the thing that I need you guys to understand about Annie. I relate to Annie so much with the sentiments that she made in episode 2 about feeling like, this is a trigger for me, where I'm attacked, where I'm villainized, where people want to, kind of abuse me, and when I stick up for myself, all of a sudden I'm seen as a villain and da-da-da. I can understand that, Annie. I can understand why it triggers you. I can understand why it upsets you, but that was not your place. But it also said a lot for me, because you had a conversation with Zena and you were also encouraging Zena, say your piece. Don't be afraid to say your piece. And to be really honest with you guys, if I was Annie, guys, I would also be extremely frustrated with Zena. Because I'd be like, then why do you have such a big ass mouth and say, hey, want this and that? But then you're sitting right here at the table, and now is the time to address this lady. You already have a lot of women agreeing with you about the fact that this lady was already trying to create an alliance by bad-mouthing you. Now is the perfect opportunity to set the record straight. I would be as frustrated as Annie. But the issue now is that, Annie, you started taking it personal, like you started personalizing it, you started internalizing this argument, you started making it I can't fucking be around this negative energy and what. Which, again, it's giving very impagamo TV as because that's not the place for you to walk off. Why are you angry? Be irritated with Zena. If I were you, I would have sat quiet and I would have probably said in my diary session, Zena, you a fake ass bitch. You a fake ass scared ass bitch, and I ain't a scared ass bitch, and I'm not gonna be in alliance with you if you a fake ass scared ass bitch. But now the problem now then is Annie was starting to really kind of form a relationship or a connection with Zena, so I can understand why she became frustrated. But again, Annie, that wasn't your place. You should have. Even the getting up part I felt was a little bit too dramatic. It was a bit too extra. It was giving watch me walk away, because I think all of you guys are beneath me, of which the irony and all of that is that you just came back and you're not even back in Durban. You're back on Ultimate Girls Trip. So now more than anything was not the time for you to pull your antics. Now was the time for you to sit and observe. Because one thing I can guarantee you, Annie does strike me as a very good friend. Annie does strike me as someone who's going to stand on something 10 toes down. Hence why her and Sorisha had such a good relationship. But because you're on this island, you are an island right now. You are on your own. You already don't have the greatest relationship with Jojo. Jojo's good friends with Angel, making her a bit of a questionable alliance. You don't like Dr. C because you think she's delusional. You don't know Princess J. You don't know Mariam that well. I mean, you and Mariam could have a sort of good relationship. And then you've got Madame. These are people that are unfamiliar to you. The only people who are familiar is Jojo, because I don't even think Angel was around for Annie's season. But this is now the time for you to sit and observe who's true to you and who's in your tribe, or who shares the same sentiments with you and who doesn't. And honestly, Annie, I'm gonna give you that. If you walked off the table and I was sitting at the table with you, I would have followed you and said, you know what, girl, you're right, but come back. Pull back. It's not your fight. You're going to internalize it. You're going to start hating Dr. C. Then come to find episode 7 that Zena's also a bit of a sly ass bitch. And now you got a problem. Now you got a serious problem. And that's not what I'm saying. I think your blind loyalty is putting you in instances for you to not have that emotional composure. Don't let the blind loyalty fool you. Zena is not your friend. Because Zena's already saying in the diary session that, yeah, Annie thinks I'm dumb enough and I don't understand or see what's going on. Already as it is, you're pissing Zena off. So don't let the blind loyalty delude you into doing things for people who wouldn't ride that same, like climate and weather, and who wouldn't ride that same storm for you, with you. Okay? I just want you to take that into consideration. I think you are rightfully so in feeling triggered. I think that was not the adequate response. I think the walking wolf was a bit drama, sensation filled. Now we're gonna have to go. Someone's gonna have to come to your room, madam, and talk to you. And then Mariam, whatever. I think you need to play this as cool as possible. I think now is the time that we need to see a more vulnerable side of Annie. Because we've seen Annie fight. We've seen Annie fight, whether it's for the truth, whether it's for her friends, whether it's for this. I want to see calm Annie. I want to see Annie who's got her own issues and won't allow herself or allow energy vampires to put her in a space to be someone that she doesn't want to be right now. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about the first 2 episodes with the character breakdown. I mean, it was pretty, good so far. I am entertained. I'm not even gonna lie. I do think Dr. C is gonna cause a lot of mess, but I am very worried about Zena. I feel like because Zena's also kind of, reeling from her past actions that have kind of followed her, she's allowing herself to play a very safe game right now, and she's not going to retaliate or react to Dr. C. But that also makes the perfect recipe for a very sly person. And I'm waiting to see how it plays out. And obviously, guys, we're still 2 episodes in. It's a 13 episoder, so we don't even know what else to expect. But I am looking forward to the drama that this season is going to bring, because I think it is going to be a lot more drama filled than the first season of the Ultimate Girls Trip. I'm not even gonna lie. No, I'm sorry. No, the first season's still unmatched. The one that had Mal and them. Woo! The first season is still unmatched. I'm not even gonna lie. I think it was too good. I don't even know if the ladies will be able to match that energy. But comment down below and let me know what you think. Do you guys agree with my take this time? Or do you guys think I'm seeing things from a lens where I'm more biased towards the women of, you know, South Africa because I know them and I've watched them all season through and through? Is there something about Zena that strikes you guys as off? Or do you actually think Dr. C really is a venomous, poisonous snake deep down in the trenches of Rio? I'm pretty sure they've got snakes somewhere there. I'm not even sure. And honestly, guys, Princess J, what's your story? You? What's your story? You're too quiet for my liking. What's your story? You. I see you. I see you. But anyway, comment down below. That is the end of the TV recap. You guys will let me know what you think. But until then, I will see you guys on the next episode of the Ultimate Girls Trip Africa Season 2. Ultimate Fave signing out. Let me eat my olives, chair. That's too good.